One man on a quest to find the perfect shirt. One man on a quest to find the perfect shirt. One man on a quest to find the perfect shirt. One man on a quest to find the perfect shirt.
Hello.
A journey that will take him through the hustle and bustle of dangerous inner city streets. Will he summon up the strength and determination to achieve his goal?
We can make it. I know we can. Together.
Will he avoid the temptations along the road? Find out now, live.
How you doing, guys? Big Mac Ghazghkull here again today, back once again with another hobby hangout for you. Yeah, that was a nice little intro I decided to put together when I thought I've got to go shirt shopping. I'll shoot some footage when I'm in town and just stitch it together into a daft trailer kind of thing. Just a nice little turn that down a touch so I can't hear myself. Yeah, just a nice little trailer to see if I can find the shirt, the perfect shirt. And guess what? I found it. Thanks to Marcos Castellanos. I'm sure he's going to come in at some point along this stream. He normally joins us about an hour in or something like that, maybe. Yeah, so his Patreon support has helped me get this shirt. Actually helped me get two shirts. Yeah, I thought I'd have a bit of fun with the intro, put a bit of effort in, give him a bit of value for money on thanks to his Patreon support. So yeah, Marcos, big shout out to you for allowing me to nip out to get this shirt. and I didn't have to pay for it myself, which is fantastic. Yeah, so if you would like to sponsor a shirt on a future episode, you can do so by following the link in the description of this video to my Patreon. There is a snazzy shirt pledge level. So you just pledge $12, and then that'll help me. It'll put money towards a shirt, and I'll give you a shout out on a future video. I mean, I shout out everyone in the chat anyway, so if it's a shout out you're looking for, you're going to get one whether or not you sponsor me. It doesn't really matter. So far in the chat we've got Rivets and Daka, and we've got Essex boys joining us as well. Fantastic stuff. Yeah, Manchester's been the same for a good few years now. I mean, there's always shops changing and stuff like that, and if you go in down Market Street, the shop fronts change and stuff. But it's been pretty similar for quite some time. There's big differences though in certain parts of town, like closer to Salford, where there's like massive tower blocks going up. Beetham Tower, I think when it was built, was the biggest. It's on Deansgate. That it's where the Hilton Hotel is in Manchester, but it's also residential apartments above it. It was at the time, I think, the biggest building in Britain, possibly Europe, but I might be wrong. But it's now been overtaken by the other towers. My company delivers kitchens to those towers that are being built. There's a BBC One documentary on about them called, I think it's called Mactopia. I've not watched it myself, but yeah, about how these skyscrapers are going up in Manchester and stuff. One of them was in that little intro as well, where you saw a sort of run of bollards in the black and white footage at the start, and I'm walking back. Well, I was actually walking forwards, but reverse the footage. But yeah, you can see in the distance, in the far distance, it's probably I was probably about a mile away from it. You can see one of these towers. I think that's Tower B, I think, which is the tallest one. I think Tower B is the tallest one. But they're all on sort of Chester Road, roundabout just off the Mancunian Way there. Welcome, Frost and Fist. Thanks for joining us once again. You're becoming a regular attendee at these. It's fantastic. I think I need to start doing some Sunday morning streams again. I did stop. Well, I stopped because I kind of had a dip in my enthusiasm for the channel. I kept the video going every Tuesday, but I didn't want to be doing so many videos all the time. But I need to get my Sunday morning stream going again, because I never get to see any Australian. Well, G the Hypersapien pops in actually a fair bit, but I rarely get to see the Australian lads in this stream. So yeah, if I'm going to get an Australian friendly stream, I guess, going again, then an Eastern Hemisphere friendly stream going again, then I'll pop that in. You know, you'll see the details coming up on the channel and that. I decided to do a little slightly different, a countdown on Instagram to this live stream, and ask for questions. And I got one question. The thing is, I don't do Q&As very often because I'm not a huge fan of answering questions, because I feel I'm not the most informed person when it comes to things like rules and stuff like that. And I know sometimes if you're a channel dedicated to one particular faction, you'll get questions about that faction quite often. And because I don't know my rules that well and stuff like that, I sort of stay clear of Q&As because I don't want to be put on the spot with rules questions and stuff. But one question came from Spud, Wargamer Spud. Check out his channel if you've not already done so. But of course, you'll have seen him on Chilling Wargamers. If you're not subscribed to Wargamer Spud, then subscribe to him as a separate entity. I'm sure you can find links in Chilling Wargamers. Pizza's here for Rivets and Daka, excellent stuff. I'm sure you can find links to the Chilling Wargamers individual channels in Chilling Wargamers, and in the Chilling Wargamers group on Facebook as well. Spud posts his videos there. So if you're not already subscribed to Spud, nip over and do so. He's doing some really good Orc content at the minute. So if you're here for Orc content, Rivets and Daka, Essex boys, and Frost and Fist now, I know you all are here for Orc content. Yeah, I'm sure you're all you three are subscribed to Spud as well. So this is kind of a pointless shout out, but hey, Spud, check him out. He's got some lovely conversions using the Necromunda Ogryns, converting into knobs and mega knobs. It is actually, because he's got some with 2 kill swords and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that's only a mega knob thing, not a knob thing. But the question was, let me just waffle away. Frost and Fist, just a quick question to yourself. Did you see that wonderful intro? If not, I'll probably play it again at some point throughout this stream. So anybody who didn't catch it on the intro, I say that wonderful intro like I'm so proud of it. It was just a bit of fun. But yeah, it was a pre-shot intro that I decided to stick up. And I had an idea today as well that I might do a previously on the Hobby Hangout kind of thing on future videos. But this one was a pre-shot intro. Yes. Like I'm so proud of it. It was just a bit of fun. Yeah, Rivers and Dak saying he loves Spuds Mega Knobs. Didn't see the intro, Frost and Fist. No worries. I'll play it again. Howdy Baz, how you doing, mate? Gamecraft Dragon joining us as well. Can't stick around long, but wanted to say hi, hello. If you watched any of Nick Iddickbear's vlog when he's been painting his Indomitus Necrons as well, you'll have seen I featured, well, if you watched any of it, if you watched to about just over an hour into it, you'll have seen that I featured via his laptop on his vlog or vlog. I don't know why people get upset when you call them vlogs though. It's like, just call it a vlog if you want to call it a vlog. So yeah, I featured on that, and he typed into the chat when he was watching one of these live streams. He typed into the chat, feel free to give yourself, you're featuring on this week's vlog, feel free to give yourself a shout out. And I didn't understand what he was talking about, and also I had a brush in my hand and I was just like casually scratching my ear with the brush. And so basically I feature on his vlog just scratching my ear with the brush and not quite processing what he's typed into the chat. So I just moved on to the next comment rather than give myself a shout out on his video, which I thought was pretty funny. Anyway, so I'm still working on Ghazghkull. I'm not sure if I'm going to get any painting done tonight. You know, I kind of not necessarily not in the mood for it, but I don't feel like I'm going to be that productive tonight. I mean, I'm never that productive on these hobby hangouts myself, but I do them because I know people like something to listen to in the background, etc. Just give us 2 secs. Not necessarily not in the mood for it, but I don't feel like I'm going to be that productive tonight. I mean, I'm never that productive on these hobby hangouts myself, but I do them because I know people like something to listen to in the background. Apologies. Just sharing this stream about, oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to share it in the Iddickbear unification group, didn't I? I'll get that shared in a second. I'm just messaging a mate. Apologies. Just sharing this stream about, oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to share it in the Iddickbear unification group, didn't I? I'll get that shared in a second. I'm just messaging them. Right, let's get this shared on the unification group as well. Yeah, you're all talking amongst yourselves, so that's fantastic. You can keep each other entertained as I do the things I was supposed to do before the stream started. I want to give another shout out in a second as well, because I've got a very special new mug that I'd like to show off. I'm eager to show off. So let's go to the unification group on Facebook. Unification. No, just go Iddickbear. If you're not already a member of the Iddickbear Wargamers Unification Group, make sure you join. Everyone in the chat's a member of the Iddickbear, I think. Anyway, is a member of the Iddickbear Unification Group on Facebook. But sometimes when I'm shouting out these various groups we're all members of, I do feel a bit odd saying it but there's always a chance someone who isn't a member is watching. Someone who's just rediscovering the hobby after years away, in a similar way that I was at one time. So it's always worth shouting out these various groups we're all members of. I do feel a bit odd. Live on YouTube now. But there's always a chance someone who isn't a member. It's always worth giving someone who's just rediscovering the hobby. Come join the chat. I'm just interrupting myself all the time. Join it's always worth the chat for some hobby fun. It's always worth giving post. Come join the chat. I'm just interrupting myself all the time. Yeah, it's always worth giving these groups a shout out, I feel like, because you may be watching a video. Somebody may be watching a video and they're just getting back into the hobby. So if you give these groups a chat, then they can find more great hobby content out there. I literally have just finished the Prophecy of the Wolf box set. Finished Ragnar today. Excellent stuff, Bazza. I still want to convert my Ragnar up. into a more suitable model to join my forces. Either I could do a really cool Deathwatch character or an Imperial Fist character that's going to be super cool. I've got plans for an Imperial Fist character, if I'm honest, with his sword hand, which is the one behind. This one. His sword hand, which is the one behind, and he's stretching his other hand out ahead of him. His sword hand changing into a fist, so it's like he's going to go boom and absolutely clobber someone like the Thing. That's the right character, isn't it? From Fantastic Four, the Thing, I think it is. Right, so as you can see, I've got a new shirt on, a new snazzy shirt, and when Essex Boys and Gar were the only two in the chat, I did say you can, if you want to, sponsor a shirt on Patreon for a future video, and I put a nice little trail together for these streams, kind of thing, and I played that at the start. I'll play it again later on at some point, and I might put it on my channel separately, just as like a little channel intro trail, not a channel intro, but a trail kind of thing. The chat's going mad. You are all entertaining each other. You've really taken my instruction literally. Yeah, so. And I played that at the start. I'll play it again later on. What's that cup, I hear you ask? Well, it's a pickle jar mug. I bought this because there was 20% off. Oh, what a promotion! It means that Josh gets even less money, because any offer that you do on, I think it's Teesprings he does them on, I can't remember. But any offer that you do, it comes off of your profit. It doesn't come, it's not a deal with Teespring where they take half the hit and you take half the hit. So it comes off the bottom margin, top. They skim it off the top basically. So you don't get any profit from, you get like 20p profit from a mug when you do that, rather than 40p you might get normally. That's a good brew, that. But yeah, as I was saying, you've all taken that entertain each other really literally, which is excellent. I've also got a Viscount at hand, a Viscount to our American brothers. It's a biscuit covered in chocolate, and also it's got mint in it, like a minty fondant type situation. I don't think you have them in the States, pretty sure you don't, but yeah, decent man, decent. So it looks like this when you open it, and here's the mint bit in the middle there, that's like a minty filling on the top of it, and then the biscuit's a thick biscuit, thick. I'm just going to dip it in my brew. Oh yes, look at that. So your mint's on top, biscuit, chocolate around the outside, lovely. Get that out of the way nice and early. Right, so let's get back to the chat, have a quick run through, and then I'll answer Spud's questions. I've got these tea tree oil facial wipes just there because I painted myself blue at weekend, like you do. I wanted to get lucky, but it didn't work for me. So, let's get back to the chat. Go into the chat. So, as I said, we've got Essex Boys, Rivets and Daka, Frost and Fist, Bazza from Underdog Painting, Mythos from Frost and Fist, I assume. And is that it? I think that's it. Everyone's in the chat. 5 people watching, 5 likes. Excellent stuff, guys. So, as I said, we've got Essex Boys, Rivets and Daka, Frost and Fist. Alright, so I'll go from where Bazza said, howdy peeps. Spuds Meganobs are awesome, says Mythos. Hey D, my man. All saying hello to each other. Evening, chaps. I saw the remembered. I saw that and remembered being there for that. It was pretty sweet. Yeah, the Nick coming into the chat, I'm guessing you're talking about there. Frost and Fist, Rivers and Daka. Hey boys, I need some Meganobs for my Death Skulls. Everyone needs Meganobs for the Death Skulls, don't they? I'll send this one to you through the internet. That's an old metal one, that is. It's a hefty boy, whereas this light plastic one. I might paint this Meganob on stream tonight. This light has got no head though. But this light plastic one is much easier to handle. They're only a little bit short of the old metal ones though. But yeah, I'll do a showcase of a squad of 5 Meganobs when I eventually get 5 painted up for you. But yeah, that's Death Skull Meganob mascot sat behind you. If anyone can tell me what this is, you get 10 internet cookies. But yeah, I'll do a showcase of a squad of 5 Meganobs when I eventually get 5 pages. Mythos saying he just finished his own Meganobs recently. I'll share it for you. Oh, thanks very much, Mythos. I'm guessing we've shared it at the same time though. After disparaging the box, I'm now thinking of getting the Wolves Orcs box. Yeah, it's a good box to have, definitely. And Baz is saying that's when he came in and said he's literally just finished the box. Mythos saying it's a great box. All groups of people coming together who enjoy the hobby for each other is a good thing. It is indeed. Encouragement is an important thing, I think, when you're getting back into the hobby. And sometimes I think certain groups on Facebook, you share your stuff and you just get back into the hobby, so your painting's not to a level that you'd 7 likes now. We are flying here. So your painting's not necessarily up to a standard that you might be super proud of. Or you might be conscious about your painting, I'd say. So it's nice to get encouragement, positive reinforcement kind of thing. It's a really good thing when you're getting back into the hobby, especially. And you can thank, by the way, I didn't mention, I don't think, when I pointed out my new shirt the second time round. I don't think I mentioned that Marcos Castellanos is a sponsor of this shirt. He enabled me to go and nip into Manchester and get it. Massive thank you to the support from Marcos. I'm thinking of doing, I've got 2 of these mugs now. I've got one from 6 Plus Steve and one from the Pickle Jar. I'll get a few more from various other channels as well. I need to get a Frost and Fist one, really, because I love their logo. I love them 2 guys. They're absolutely amazing. To be on their streams, it's a pleasure. I feel like I should, next time they want me on one of their streams, I feel like I should volunteer to stay up late and do one of the late night ones, because sometimes I just wake up randomly when their stream's about to start anyway. So maybe I should one day, but I'll be a bit probably maybe a bit subdued compared to. I'm never like outrageous on their streams or anything like that. Apart from when I said it's like walking in and finding him in bed with your wife once. But yeah, I feel like I should jump in and volunteer for one of their normal regular time streams sometime in the future, if they'd have me, that is. Right, getting back to the chat though, before I get too far ahead. Well done, agreed, Dan. Yeah, good job on that. I feel like I should jump in. Now to paint 6 more Mega Knobs, lol, and 5 more knobs, lol, knobs. Bazza always laughs at knobs. You see it in, I've seen it on various streams of mine, I think, and I've seen it in comment section on other people's videos. Bazza just comes in and puts lol knobs. Oh, he's such a big kid, isn't he? Now to paint 6 more Mega Knobs. The Thing, you're right, it's clobbering time. I thought I was right, I wasn't sure. It's been a while since I watched any Fantastic Four cartoons or films, to be honest, as well. Oh no, I did watch, I think during lockdown, I think I watched the new film, and I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was alright, but I'm quite relaxed with films. If it's kept me reasonably entertained for an hour and a half or 2 hours, however long it might be, I'll just say, yeah, it was okay, I enjoyed it, It's not going to change, it doesn't change my world or anything, that film, the most recent Fantastic Four film, but I didn't absolutely hate it. I think a lot of the issue is for some people, though, when they stray far away from the comics, they stray too far away from how the characters act in the comics and stuff like that, people can get wound up by that stuff. But for me, because I've never been a reader of comics, it's all new, or it's not all new to me necessarily, but it's all I think a lot of the issue is for some people, I just take it as it comes, kind of thing. Whereas some people can get, expect it a certain way, and it's not that way. Then they're disappointed with it. Wow. We have that little thinner. We have that a little thinner. We call them Thin Mints. Yeah, Thin Mints are a thing as well. Although our Thin Mints are just mint, like a mint filling. I don't know if yours are just a mint filling. But yeah, Viscount's biscuit, mint on top, chocolate on the outside. But our Thin Mints are like chocolate with a really runny mint filling kind of thing. After Eights is the biggest brand over here for that. But yes, or After Dinner Mints we might call them as well. Or certain supermarkets who don't want to be sued by the people who make After Eights. call them after dinner mints. Which in Manchester and in the north, I think in most parts of the north, we call the evening meal, we call that tea. Sometimes supper, but tea I'd say. And we call the lunchtime meal dinner. But if you go to different parts of the country, you call your evening meal dinner. And you call the lunchtime meal lunch. Makes sense to call the lunchtime meal lunch, but it's when you're in Manchester, I think most people know what meal you're referring to, depending on if what time of day it is, and if you said, you know, what you had for dinner, you'd be talking about lunch. If you were talking in the evening, I don't know. I'm just waffling now. When you're in Manchester, I think most people know what meal you're referring to. Gamecraft Dragon coming in, but with the mints. The mint is in the biscuit. It's relatively the same. You'd be talking about lunch if you were talking. Yeah, they're just there discussing amongst themselves about the thin mint situation. Just finished some Goth Mega Knobs and a big chopper knobs. And big chopper knobs, not and a big chopper knobs. That was very confusing. Just one big chopper between 5 knobs. That'd be hilarious. Just fighting over it, all grabbing hold of the same big chopper. I've watched videos like that on the internet, but I'm not going to go into that now. The Hobby Corner, Kev. That is a corner that is a hobby that. Yeah, he's joined us in the chat. Good evening. Can't chat as I'm driving. You're always driving when I'm streaming. What's that about? You shouldn't be watching at all, you naughty mouse. Hide my face, because I know it gets quite distracting because it's so roguishly handsome. So make sure you hide my face, turn your phone down onto the seat next to you, and just listen to my voice, my dulcet tones coming into your ears. You shouldn't be watching at all, you naughty mouse. Hide my face, because I know it gets... My guy that gave me all those metal early 90s figs, apparently he's got a bunch of old orc metal for me, plus a couple of complete Gorka... a couple of complete Gorka Morka boxes. Quality. Hopefully getting out there to get them this weekend. Nice. You know what would be really nice? If he had the Orc Prospector for you, that would be really nice. That is a hard to find model, or hard to find at a reasonable price, I'd say. Sometimes though, you'll see them pop up on the internet and they've had a slight conversion done to them and they're much lower in price then. But even them sometimes, because people know what they're selling, they tend to know what they're selling if they've owned it in the past. You do find it a bit difficult to get them for a reasonable price. That'd be an interesting miniature for... Not that there's a use for it at the minute, or I can't foresee a use for it in the future in 40k, but it'd be a nice sort of one-off miniature for GW to do for Orc players. But then it'd absolutely destroy the resale market in terms of... I guess, you know, if you've got the metal one, it's slightly different to a new plastic one coming out, isn't it? Thank you, my brother, says Mythos. That was when I was bigging up Frost and Fist. One of my favourite channels out there, so I'm always going to big you up. I love the retro stuff. Lol. You're always welcome to. Yeah, like I said, I might be a bit more subdued if I joined you for the Friday night stream. We'll see. I'm one of those who get disappointed when they change a character too much. Yeah. It's understandable. I think if you're familiar with the character, you expect it a certain way. It's like with things like the Umbrella Academy. Not necessarily the biggest comic ever, but it's a comic that I happen to read. But I read it long enough ago that I'm not bothered by any changes to any characters, really. Because I read it long enough ago and I've kind of forgotten it. It's in a box upstairs, actually. I've got... I don't know how many of them I've got. But yeah, like I struggle to read comics because they're all sort of all over the place. And I just end up looking at the pictures the whole time. I love comic book art, but you know, a fair bit of comic book art, and probably not all art. Like the Marnius Calgar art looks a bit simplistic to me somehow. But yeah, I really enjoy comic book art, but I don't necessarily... I find it difficult to read comics. I love comic book art. If it's that different, make them a different character. Don't just slap the name, the same label on an entirely different person. Yeah, I get what you mean there. It's understandable, definitely. Hey up, Kev, don't crash. Awesome, Clinton D. Dinner's at dinner time, tea is at tea time. Correct, Rivets, correct. lunch is at lunchtime and brunch is at between breakfast and lunch. But also that's 11sies. And don't get me started on second breakfast. Hey up Kev, don't crash. Awesome Clinton D. No dying, says Gamecraft Dragon. Make that control roll. That's a bazooka line. Yeah, he's not even here. I've got some awesome metal commandos to paint, courtesy of wonderful Rivets and Daka. Very cool, says Mythos, and very cool, says I. I'm going to finish this brew because it's going cold, you know. Make that control roll. I should keep the branding on though, shouldn't I? Make sure you check out the Pickle Jar, check out Foss and Fish, check out each other's channels. I'm sure you've all checked them out thoroughly though already. Well, I know you have, because I see you all in the comment sections on everybody's videos. But, not that I go stalking through the comment section or anything. I'm not a weirdo. I should keep the branding on though, shouldn't I? Make sure you check out the Pickle Jar. Can't wait to see him painted, Clint. What do we all think? Oh yeah, I was supposed to be answering Spud's question. I just want to say though how rubbish it is, and I say it with a smile on my face like it's hilarious. It's not, but I just smile a lot. How rubbish it is that scammers are targeting individuals now, so in such a focused way that they, when Cromlech are doing a giveaway, they're sending emails pretending to be Cromlech. Sending emails say, send us some details and we'll get this sent to you. You know, you've won this, you've won our giveaway. And Redgrass Games as well, I just heard were one of their competitions or something was being scammed. The scammers were using their giveaway or using their company name at least to try and scam people. And yeah, bad times, man. Bad times not bad times to be in the hobby. It's a great time to be in the hobby, but it's unfortunate because it's, especially if you enter a giveaway, you like, share a post, stuff like that, and then you get contacted by a company that, for all intents and purposes, you think is Cromlech, and then you find out you've been scammed. Yeah, it's awful. Not bad time to be in the hobby. It's a great time to be in the hobby, but it's unfortunate because it's, especially if you enter a giveaway. Grab me more water now. I'm going to pour some water into that mug so I can. I bet some people think. No, I think that's disgusting. But to me, it's all going down the same hole. Grab me more water now. I'm going to pour some water into that mug. So I've eaten things like a chocolate eclair, like a creamy eclair, wrapped in ham because I'm a lunatic. Because someone dared me to once, so it's like, yeah, of course I can do that. It's not exactly hard, is it? Right, job done on the water. Boom, shakalaka. How'd you like them apples? Like a creamy cloud. Ooh, I should really finish my commandos. Mine are resin, the fine cast ones. I've not even got a proper painting setup in front of me at the minute. I've got my cutting mat placed on top of a pad in which I do a quiz every week. So I'm just going to get rid of a few things. Are you watching yourself? Because I can hear you twice. I'm going to mute that video then. I've got it playing, but there's no sound coming out of my speakers or anything. It may be coming back through the computer though. So yeah, thanks for that. So I've muted it now. You should stop hearing me twice, hopefully. And if you continue to hear me twice, maybe just leave YouTube and come back into it. I don't know. I mean, you're driving, so don't die. But yeah, I don't know what to say to you if you can still hear me twice. Hopefully it's sorted now. I've muted that video. But yeah, I'll when it gets to 1:30, it's now 1:30. So I'll show you that little trailer I did for anyone that missed it, and I might show it again later, just because it's like it was a bit of fun to shoot and edit. So this was the trail that played at the start of the video, and you know the answer to the questions raised in it already. But I'm just going to play this trail for you, and then you can have a good laugh at my trail for this video.
One man on a quest to find the perfect shirt. A journey that will take him through the hustle and bustle of dangerous inner city streets. Will he summon up the strength and determination to achieve his goal? We can make it. I know we can. Together. Will he avoid the temptations along the road? Find out now, live.
So that's my trail for this video. There we go. Yes, if you would like to see more trails like that and daft little intros to videos, feel free to request them. I used to do funny intros on a fair few of my videos when I was doing the Warhammer 40k videos, but I've not done them for a long while now. And yeah, thanks to, I've already said this now, I know 2 or 3 times, but thanks again to Marcos Castellanos for funding this shirt. This was one of 2 that I picked out with the money that he's sponsored me with through Patreon. Kev seems to like it, unless he likes the Gamecraft Dragons previous comment, potentially. I'm just trying to find a suitable Ghazghkull picture. Frost and Fist says that's awesome, so thank you very much. I will try and do a few more daft little intros to videos like that. I noticed on your hobby hangout the other night, Mythos, as well, that you went to Beasts of War to find the picture of Ghazghkull. That's the same one I use as my reference material. So I'll just get that into its own tab. There we go. Right, so I've got a Ghazghkull reference if I want to use it. I'm not sure, like I said, if I'm going to do any painting on this stream, and I've just realised I've got no water at hand apart from the water that I'm going to drink. Well done, got to run. Lunch is over, no problem. Thanks for joining in. The Gamecraft Dragon. So yeah, get back to work, man. Get back to work. Yeah, so I will try and do more daft intros and stuff like that in the future, because I know people miss that from my channel. Well, I think certain people do as well. I know Steve-O used to love a good intro when I do a daft intro. This shirt, incidentally, would be so much better. This is like a loose fit shirt. It'd be so much better just with the top button, I think. I think that would make it a much better shirt. I'm not a guy that buttons all the way up to the top most of the time, but if it had a top button, that'd be nice. That, it's just too big an opening for me. Especially because I've got like a hairy chest, so you just see all my rug there. But yeah, if it had a top button, I think it'd be a much nicer shirt. Maybe though it's because it's a large, and I'd normally go for a medium, and because I like feeling restricted. No, I like quite a you don't want to know about that. I like quite a snug fit on most of my clothes. But yeah, this one I had to get a large because there was no mediums left, and if I got a small, it'd be a ridiculous fit, I think. Yeah, so I've got my Ghazghkull ready. I don't know though if I'm going to do any painting. What should we look at? Oh yeah, I forgot again. Thanks for reminding me, guys. God, can't rely on you lot, can I? So there was a question I was asked in on Instagram from Spud. The question from Spud was, let's have a look. What would you like to see in the future for orcs, models and rules wise? More models, more rules. No, more models, less rules would be good for me. Yeah, models and rules wise, more models like Ghazghkull Thraka. Wow. I'd like to see models wise all the characters that are currently in the Orc Codex, because I don't think there's too many, especially when you compare them to something like Space Marines. I think sometimes GW like to shy away a little bit from doing character models, because not everybody wants to buy a character model. Let's say the White Scar character, is that Jagatai Khan, or is that someone else, the one that's been Primarisized? It's not Jagatai Khan, I know it's not Jagatai Khan. Is that Kosaro Khan, or is that someone else? I think it's Kosaro Khan, the White Scar character that's been Primarisized, isn't it? Not entirely sure, but I think it is. Yeah, so some people don't want to take that model, let's say, and convert it to fit their army, like I'm going to do with Ragnar. Let's take Ragnar as an example. I plan on converting Ragnar to fit one of my armies, so I'll convert him into either an Imperial Fist or maybe keep him as a Space Wolf and add him to my Death Watch, something like that. But not everybody's confident enough to convert characters to fit into their army. So I think that's why GW sometimes shy away, and recently, more recent years, they've turned away from doing established characters, characters from the lore, and making miniatures of them. However, I would like to see GW continue to support the orc characters that are currently in the Codex. So Mad Dog Grotsnik, Gruk Face Ripper, I think would be lovely as an established character, as a character. I'd like to see a new Boss Snickrot miniature. I'd like to see a new Captain Bagrook miniature, but lean heavily into the aesthetic that they already have. So, I really like the look of Snickrot, and I really like the look of Badrook as they are. Maybe Badrook could get an updated gun, because his snaz gun, the Ripper, no, not the Ripper, what's his snaz gun called? I can't remember. But it's a small looking gun for a flash kit, isn't it? And he's supposed to be the flashiest of flash kits, so he should have a bigger gun. But just holding it in one hand because he's a big boss. And Snickrot, I'd like to see just a plastic version of the miniature. Exactly the same sculpt for me with Snickrot. I love the Snickrot miniature. It's my favourite orc miniature. New Ghazghkull's really nice though as well, isn't it? And I'd love to see a Big Mech Dangskull miniature. When are GW going to pull the finger out and get a Big Mech Dangskull miniature made? I think a nice new Big Mech miniature would be cool, with custom force field. I think that's in the pipeline, more than likely. Everybody seems to think so. And yeah, that'll be cool when we see it. Is it Big Mech? The Big Mech from Forge World, what's he called? That's a really cool looking miniature. But I'd like to see that in plastic, or one in plastic with the same way a Tech Marine has the arm on the backpack. I'd like to see something similar there. But mainly character miniatures. I like the Orc Boys kit as it is, but they could do an update on the Orc Boys kit. It's been around for a long time now. If they updated it though, I'd like to retain the interchangeability of the kits. I'd like to see an updated Looters and Burners kit, because I don't like the look of Looters. I'd like to see completely different Looters. I'd rather see what looks like boys holding big shooters than Looters. But that's just my personal taste. Some people probably really like the Looters kit. I just don't think they look that good personally. And again, as an orc player, I think you're expected to almost. I'll come back to that. I think you're expected to. Convert your own miniatures to a certain extent. I know War Bosses of the Apocalypse have done a video on, are you even an orc player if you don't convert? Yeah, you're expected to convert your own miniatures, so I should really convert my own looters, but I'm too lazy. I'm not that bothered about squads like that, and I do like to have one of each unit kind of thing as they come from GW, so I don't have that many looters in my army because I prefer the look of flash kits, and they almost fulfill the same role. Not quite, but in terms of their effectiveness on the battlefield and stuff. But yeah, so there's a few things I like model wise for orcs. I'll come back to the rules wise thing in just a second. I'm just going to do a quick screen share here because I want to share something that I've only just noticed. I've been looking at this same picture for 6-7 weeks or something of live streams. Screen share. There we go. So just focus in. I'm just going to big this up a bit. Big it up. Big up yourself. I thought I was going to big it up. Focus in on the old loincloth here. Can you see? Now, Kev, you continue driving and concentrating on driving. But everyone else, can you see here? He's got texture on his loincloth. I'd never noticed that. That's ridiculous. How have I not noticed that until just this minute as I glanced over sort of happened to get my eye drawn to the loincloth, and I was blown away. Buzzgob is the bring back Zogwart, says S6 Boys. I'm not an old school orc player, so I'm not bothered about Zogwart myself. But I know Steve-O says he wants. I think Steve-O says he wants Zogwart brought back. I think a character for every clan would be nice. So a snakebite character turning up would be pretty nice. I'm all for more miniatures. So make all the miniatures you ever thought of making. You know what I'd love to see though for Space Wolves? Bran Redmore. But we're not talking about Space Wolves tonight. I just wanted to trigger Mythos there. Right, let's get back to my face, because I know you're missing it already, even though it's in the corner there. Let's have a quick drink and then... I'd love to see a new Mad Dog Grotsnick, says S6 Boys, and bring back Zogwart. I love the look of Snickrot, but he's so bad in stats, yeah. That's part of the problem. So rules-wise, what would I want? Well, better stats for Snickrot. Of course. More reasons to play the miniatures that I love. I'd like... This isn't going to happen, and I'm not a game scientist, but I'd really love if Orc Boys increased in toughness. Bran Redmore shouts Mythos in the chat. So I'd love it if Orc Boys got a +1 in the toughness. Now, it's not going to happen. They're a horde army, but the fact that they've got a 6-up save, which is negated by a heck of a lot of weapons that you see in games on various tables. So, just like your standard Primaris bolt rifle, I think it is, it has a -1 to saving throws. Rand characteristic, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the official rule is called now. But yeah, it has a -1 armor penetration. So orcs don't get a save against bolt rifles, and you see bolt rifles on most tables. I would have thought. I'm not into the competitive scene, so I could be extremely wrong here, but I think you see bolt rifles on most tables now. So if you just increase the toughness a bit, I think you could be fine with having them have a 6-up save. Either increase the toughness, so it's harder to wound them, which makes sense because orcs are supposed to be able to shrug off ridiculous amount of wounds, and that's not knobs, that's not bosses, that's just Orc Boys are supposed to be able to do that. So they should be tougher than they are, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm not a game scientist. Was that I'm not a game scientist Kenny Boucher reference? You may have picked up on that Kenny Boucher reference, yeah, you may have. I was thinking about him before. I was watching an episode of New Girl, I think, and somebody said, I'm not a something scientist, and then I immediately thought, I'm not a light scientist. It popped into my head, so yeah, I thought I'd get that in there straight away. I'm not a game scientist. Yeah, rules-wise, to me, I feel like orcs need something to keep them alive a little bit better. They don't get many invulnerable saves, so the only way they get an invulnerable save is unless the Ghazghkull or the Makari or something like that. The only way they can get an invulnerable save is through a custom force field and being within 12 inches of it, I think, or extended range depending on what stratagems and stuff you use. So to me, just increase the toughness a little bit, or give them a 6-up feel no pain. So effectively, they've always got an invulnerable save. But I understand they're a horde army, but adjust the points accordingly as well then. I just think Orc Boys are a little bit... You get a lot of them, but they start getting shredded quite quickly, I feel like. I don't play an awful lot of 40k, so anything I say here is just my gut feeling and gut instinct. So if you're more well informed, feel free to say in the chat, or if you're watching this video a bit later, let me know in the comments section why I have the worst ideas ever. But that's just a gut feeling. I feel like they just need to be a little harder to kill. And Other rules, I don't know. I like thematic rules, me. One of the things when I was getting into Orcs the first time, I think they were still on. Sorry, I'm a bit sleepy. You may have noticed. I think they were still on the 5th edition Codex when I first started getting back into them, and I was reading through the Codex, and they had rules like. The Storm Boys could just shoot off in a random direction. I think they had to take like a difficult terrain roll or something like that, and on a roll of a 6 or a 1, whichever one it was, at whichever end of the spectrum, they just shoot off in a random direction. And certain rules that add a bit of randomness to the game that are fun, but they shoot off to like the nearest. I can't remember it. Maybe I'm making this up, but I feel like a Storm Boy would shoot off to the nearest unit and explode, and then cause a bit of damage to that unit. Like, I don't know if I'm making that up or if that was an actual rule. I feel like it was an actual rule, but I'd like to see a bit of fun randomness introduced, at least in narrative games, so you can keep it out of the competitive, because GW constantly bang on about having 3 ways to play now, but they don't necessarily support the other ways to play. They support competitive play a lot of the time, and they kind of, I think they expect people to make up their own rules, but some people do want a little guidance in narrative play and in open play. They do want a little bit of guidance, because although they might be playing open or they might be playing narrative, they still might be playing quite structured. They're just not as competitive, they're not all about the win as much. But they still kind of want to play to a certain framework of the rules. And I feel like a bit of encouragement to use daft rules. Well, having said that, when AOS got rebooted, they did have some daft rules in and people slated them. But they were really daft. Like if one of the generals, like one of the controlling players, had a mustache, they got to re-roll something, or if they had like really random rules. Not like a rule where a unit with a rocket pack malfunctions and they shoot off into a random unit nearby and do some damage to it. That's at least on the tabletop. Whereas a rule about a player's mustache, that's a bit too random. Whilst yes, they might be a free guild general, or they might be controlling a faction that is renowned for having, or renowned for revering fancy mustaches. It's kind of, potentially leaves someone at a disadvantage. If they can't grow a mustache, then they could be at a disadvantage, even though they've got exactly the same army. The old ramshackle rule, yeah, that's a great shout, Essex boys. Effectively, orc vehicles used to have a bit like a feel no pain, effectively, before any other vehicle had a saving throw. You could roll and damage would be ignored. This, again, my memory of rules isn't necessarily the best, but I feel like it was. If a penetrating hit was scored, it was just downgrade. It was downgraded to a glancing hit, and you just lost 1 hull point. If you rolled the dice and you got a 5 or a 6, something like that, the ramshackle rule, it was something like that. So because orc vehicles are just bolted together randomly, think of it as like having shock absorbers on your car, like ridiculous spongy suspension. Yeah. If you got a ridiculous spongy suspension and you go down a cobbled street, the chassis of the vehicle will barely shake, but the wheels will be like bum 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 bum. But it acts as a shock absorber, yeah. But if you're in an F1 car and you go down a cobbled street, the driver feels everything and he's getting his bones rattled. Greetings, Blacktoe Studio. Welcome once again to the chat. So the old ramshackle rule was, it was almost as if the vehicles were bolted together so randomly, and there was voids between armor plates and stuff like that. So it was like having shock absorbers fitted to the whole vehicle, effectively. That's kind of what I liked about that rule. Yeah, so there are a couple of things rules-wise. So, Spud, I hope you do manage to watch this afterwards, assuming you're not watching now. So you'll have seen my questions answered. What I might do is answer that on Instagram as well, so he gets to see his question answered. But I'm not too sure. Yeah, so we are 55. I should get to bed. 55 minutes into the stream. Marcos Castellanos. Greetings, Marcos. You have funded this shirt. I've given you a couple of shout-outs already, and I've played a couple of clips about my journey into Manchester. Yeah, it's a new shirt that you paid for. So, yeah, thanks very much for supporting me through Patreon and enabling me to buy this shirt. And it gives me another chance to shout out my Patreon. So, click the link in the description below if you want to support the channel and fund new shirts. Or, if you just want to drop a little money my way, you can do so by supporting at the lower tiers as well. I did also film a bit of a coffee tasting video, which I've not done for ages on my Patreon. I had Black Sheep coffee for the first time. I say it in the coffee tasting. I think it's a Manchester-based company, Black Sheep Coffee. It's like a couple of coffee shops in the city centre. But the coffee blew my head off. It was proper strong tasting, even in a latte. I got a large latte, and either they put like 6 shots in it, or it's just really strong tasting coffee. And that night, I could not get to sleep at all. So I think it's just really strong coffee. Yeah, so new shirt. Thanks very much, Marcos. And seeing as though you're here now, I'll play the trail for you. We're almost an hour in now. So if you've already seen the trail and you don't want to watch it again, that's fine. So anybody who's been here for a little while now, feel free to nip off, make yourself a coffee. Nice, I missed the coffee tastings. Yes. I'll try and get back to doing them. There's plenty of coffee shops in Manchester that all serve different coffee. Independent, but like the nice inside and stuff. So I will try and get back to doing coffee tastings. I'll probably pick up a bag of the Black Sheep coffee so I can use their beans at home. I really need to sneeze all of a sudden. Right, so I'm going to play a trail now for Marcos, seeing as though he funded this shirt. I thought I'd put a bit of effort in to make a nice trail for this particular stream, and then he can enjoy that and come back. But like I said, if you've already seen this trail, you've got about 90 seconds to go and make yourself a brew, or just take care of your ablutions. It's up to you.
One man on a quest to find the perfect shirt.
Hello.
A journey that will take him through the hustle and bustle of dangerous inner city streets. Will he summon up the strength and determination to achieve his goal? We can make it. I know we can. Together. Will he avoid the temptations along the road? Find out now, live.
I'm back. So that was, I thought I'd put the trail together rather than just buy the shirt. I thought I'd put a daft little trail together as if it's some kind of amazing journey I've been on. And what a tale that would be to see my whole journey to get this shirt. Yes, so... Oh, should I do a bit of painting? I'm not sure. I don't know how long this stream's going to go on for. But now Marcos has joined us, I feel like I'm getting a second wind. right as I say that, I'm about to yawn as well. So maybe I'm not getting a second wind. When I said before, does anybody know what this is? I was expecting at least one person to take a stab in the dark. I'll give you a clue. Try to get it in shot. There we go. So there's a bit of a clue for you. And I did say as well I'd painted myself blue at weekend, so that might be a little bit of a clue for you too. Oh, I don't know whether I'm going to do any painting, you know. I did come to this stream thinking I'm not going to do any painting because I'm feeling a little bit sleepy. And I don't know what I want to paint exactly if I do paint. So I just thought I'd start the stream and see what happened. And there's certain things happen, like I've not got water to wash my brushes. Oh, I also bought my first makeup brush for dry brushing. So, yeah, I'll be testing this out at some point in the not too distant future. So, yeah, look at that. It's a little makeup brush. It's flat. I feel like I should have got a round one, but I didn't really notice. I just kind of assumed it was the pack making it flat. But it looks like it'll do the trick. I've not tested it out yet. It's very soft though compared to the brushes most gamers use. So I think it'll be all right for dry brushing. Epic trailer. Thank you very much, Marcos. Thank you very much indeed. I thought I'd put a bit of extra effort in rather than just go to town and buy a shirt. I'd shoot some footage and yeah, for Mythos as well. I shot a coffee tasting vid. I do need to get, for one of my Patreons, I did say I'd get hold of some Amazon coffee, some coffee from Amazon, but I forgot the name of it, and I forgot the name of it, and I never got around to getting it. But then I've remembered the name because I've gone into my Google search history from when I searched for it. I'm being very rude texting, aren't I? Bam, bam. There we go. Get that to one side. Take another sip of from my pickle jar mug. Mythos saying he likes the semi-flat ones better. I feel like they catch the details better. Well, that's good news for me then, isn't it? Because this is definitely semi-flat. Maybe I should just test a bit of a dry brush out on something. Oh, I tell you what, these guns over here on these flash kits look like they could use a bit of a dry brushing. Oh, look at that. I've got a perfect colour here for it. Femrisian Grey. Oh, let's see how we do with this. Have I got any blue dry brush paint, I wonder? Let me check that out first. I'm going off camera, but I'm just down here. I'm still here. You can see my shirt. I don't think I've got any blue. I've not got any blue dry brush paint, have I? No, sir. Not me, sir. Femrisian Grey shall do it, I think. Oh, look at his eye. Take his arm off. Look at that. So that is a dark blue, and I'm going to be dry brushing now. So testing this dry brush out with a bit of Femrisian blue. And then I might compare it. Where's the Hobby Corner mug, says Kev. Pardon me, dirty burper. Well, I've not got one, so you'll have to send me one for free. No, I'll probably get one at some point in the future then. I got the pickle jar one because I love his logo. I know some people are fans of the other mug with Loki on it. Well, this one's got a cat on it. I don't know if it's an actual silhouette of Loki. Probably not. It looks like a cartoon kitten to me. But yeah, put a cat on the Hobby Corner logo on a mug, and then I'll buy one of them. Hey, who took my dice shunners in the chat again? I keep getting same regular customers week after week, regular attendees, I suppose. Does anyone else do that to mix the paint? I look like a lunatic probably doing this live on stream, but I just spin it round and chuck it in the air. like when you pass a rugby ball, you put a bit of spin on it. But I do that, but with the paint pot, and then I feel like I get that centrifugal force, mixing the pigment in with the medium better. But then I just spin it randomly as well, so it gets mixed up all the various ways. I don't know if anyone else does it though. I wonder. Hey, that's like the same colour as the line here. Magic. That's because you're awesome. Ooh. The hobby corner laughing. He's definitely going to put a cat on one of his mugs for me now, isn't he? Completely change the design of your channel logo. Absolutely not. If you did, though, I'd be very, very happy. Just a random cat attached. Put Grumpy Cat off the internet on it. Grumpy Cat's dead now. Bad times. I don't know whether to take this directly onto this dry brush or this makeup brush or what. I'm gonna. No! Everyone says in the chat, as I do. Here we go. Let's test out this new technique for me. Oh no, it's too wet. It's too wet. I thought it was dry enough. I never throw my paint pots, says Marcos. R.I.P. Grumpy Cat, indeed, Mythos, indeed. Oh my, this is so streaky. Why does everybody use makeup brushes for dry brushing? It's rubbish. I think my it seems like, oh no, it's nice actually, just catching the edge there, but it was a bit streaky at first, so I have to get it extra dry, I feel like, compared to a GW dry brush. That's pretty nice actually. Yeah, you have to get it extra dry. GW dry brush, I feel like, because they're a bit harsher, they're more suited to working with GW paints, perhaps. The consistency of the paint compared to like a bit of makeup, which is just powder. Well, not all makeup's powder. Some makeup's cream and stuff, isn't it? But yeah, like if you're talking foundation and stuff and eyeshadow and so on, just powder. So it's just pigment essentially, whereas GW paints are mainly medium. I mean, dry is in the name, says Mythos. Stop mocking me, Mythos. What's up with you, man? Stop being a bully. Boo. Everybody boo Mythos. Oh, that's quite nice, actually. Let's see if I can get a shot for you. So, now bear in mind, the top edge here, I went in a little bit wet. But I got the hang of it eventually. You know what? I want to see what that looks like on my thing, because I feel like my streams are a little too blurry. Let's put it on a full screen and see what happens. Let's see. Right, I'll just sit here patiently waiting for that to focus and for the screen over here to my left to catch up. Oh, it's focused nicely, isn't it? I'm going to try and hide behind my hand so it doesn't try and focus on my face. Wow, I'm waiting a long time. There's going to be people tuning in now thinking, why is he just showing us his hand? Here we go. It's coming up. 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 It's there. Right. Oh, come on. Come on now. That was... Oh, it's like a minute behind this stream. Oh, it's focusing on my face. Hide. Here we go. It's coming up. You know what? I don't know why I'm still holding it there. I just thought it's just going to come up afterwards. Yeah, you can't really... It's hard to see on the stream there, on the screen. I'm getting a good chance to look at it now, though. But yeah, it looks like it's just nicely caught those edges, and in person it looks... apart from the initial streakiness that I got, I think maybe the light's just washing it out a little bit as well, and it just looks like one colour. But in person, it almost looks like two blues on this shirt, like these lines here. Almost. That's nice, that. I like it. So, makeup brushes for dry brushing. Yeah. That's a do for me. Why don't GW then start making makeup style dry brushes? I know other companies have already started doing it. Artis Opus were probably the first to do it, I think, but could be very wrong there. But also Army Painter are now doing it as well. So let's get some more of this paint on and do the other one here. Oh, I've left that pot open as well. I was watching. This got me gander up. Got me gander up, is that a saying? Not enough Daka says, who took my dice? Who did take your dice? Did we ever find out who took your dice? So I was watching Let's Make It Orky on Instagram. She's an orc collector, does a bit of Death Guard as well. Possibly some other armies as well, but I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I was watching... Who did I say? I was watching Let's Make It Orky on Instagram. She was doing a live stream. And as I'm watching, I realised she's got about 10 pots of paint just open in front of her. I'm like, what? You just left your pots of paint open like that. They're not going to last very long, are they? I didn't mention it to her. I'll mention it on the next stream if I notice it again. Well, yeah, I was just... I was blown away by the fact that she left them all open. I was like, who does that? Maybe everyone does, and I don't. I tend to close my pot as soon as I've taken a bit of paint out of it. Oh, that's nice, that. Just catching the edge there. Tell you what, this might be a new way for me to do Deathwatch. Because this is seriously just catching the very edge. It feels like, but you just have to be proper dry. Because when you do a dry brush on black, I'm tempted to just test this on a black model. Have I got any? Oh, I have got some unpainted, unfinished Deathwatch there, I think. No. I know what I've got, but I don't know where exactly it is. Oh, is he there? Is he there? Oh, there he is. He's in there. I've got Watch Captain Artemis, who I might test this out on now. And see if I can... get a very fine edge highlight. I can't remember if it was Fengrisian Grey that I used though. The big reason GW is slow to change is things are adapted because it's publicly traded. Sudden changes or deviation can hurt investors, and that's who GW really listens to. Yeah, it makes total sense. I'm not saying they should adapt and change things rapidly. But it wouldn't surprise me if they do develop some makeup brush style dry brushes in the future. Would not surprise me one jot. One iota. There's a lot of detail on these guns, even on the back sides of them that you're barely going to see. I said backside. That is such a fine edge highlight, that. I might never do an edge highlight again, you know. Based on my first experience, let's continue this and see if I can get a good second experience as well. But based on my first experience of... Go away. Yeah, of dry brushing with a makeup brush. I may adapt. I may actually get a decent Deathwatch force painted up in the near future. Just casually pull out a baseball bat now, as you do. It was about to fall over, so I'll just move that to one side. Why have you got a baseball bat? Shouldn't you have a cricket bat? No, because cricket's boring. Actually, cricket's fun. Cricket's fun to watch, ish. Basically, what I like about going to watch cricket is you're just there with your mates having a beer, and you can be sat there all day. Not a lot's going on the field of play. But every now and again, someone gets a few runs or hits a six or something like that. And it's just like, yeah, you do a bit of, you're just chatting to your mates, something happens, you turn, way, and then you go back to your drinking and you're chatting to your mates. It's just it's like being at a pub where there's, every now and again, someone drops a plate. It's kind of like that. Yeah, so... Baseball is boring, says Steve. Baseball is boring? No, it's not. I used to watch baseball late at night on Channel 5 over here, and I'd fall asleep watching it. How can it be boring? I'd fall asleep watching it. I did enjoy following it though, for a good while. But I never. If I had a team, it was probably the Yankees. But that's just because they were good at the time. And also, they're an obvious team to go for as well. I didn't get when I get into American sports, and I don't get into them. I just kind of casually follow them a little bit. For a bit, I was into ice hockey. I say American sports; it's like a North American thing. So for a bit, I was into ice hockey. My team was New Jersey Devils. More often than not, I pick a team based on the teams that I like playing with on computer games. So back in, I don't know which version of the game it was, NHL 97 maybe, something like that. Or even an earlier one. I used to play with New Jersey Devils. Used to play with Pittsburgh Penguins a bit as well. But New Jersey Devils were kind of my team. Damn Yankees, says Marcos. Baseball-wise, we didn't play baseball games that much. But when we did, I think I just used different teams every now and again. Like ones that were sort of half decent at the time. So Cardinals, Yankees. Is it the Cardinals, or am I thinking St. Louis Cardinals? I want to say I might be wrong there. I might be completely wrong. So there was a few baseball teams that I kind of followed a little bit, and then in what's the other sport? American football or football. Patriots, my team. So I'm quite lucky that I don't follow them at all, but when the Super Bowl's on, that's the only kind of, if I watch any game in the football season, it's a Super Bowl, and quite often the Patriots are in the final, or they have been over the course of the past 15 years. They've been in the final relatively frequently compared to other teams. So I'm quite fortunate in that sense, especially considering I picked them as a team to follow like years ago. So I'm quite fortunate. I always root for Penguins because of the Van Damme movie. Nice. What Van Damme movie? Otherwise, I'm not really into sports. That's fine. It's fine. It's okay to be not into sports. I've grown up watching, because we had like satellite television when I was a kid. And also because of the schools I went to and the friends I had and stuff like that, I kind of just watched every sport growing up, especially when I got into my teen years, and kind of always had a passing interest. Basketball, I find basketball a bit difficult to watch, if I'm honest. If I had a team, who would it be? I reckon I don't know, Orlando Magic, I think, probably. If I was to support a basketball team, it'd probably be them. But yeah, I can't watch basketball because there's no highs and lows in basketball. Hear me out. What happens in football or soccer in the UK, Jean-Claude Van Johnson is being hilarious on Amazon Prime. Okay. So in soccer, football to the rest of the world, non-American part, on Australia as well actually call it soccer sometimes. But yeah, so what I'd call football, what you get in that game is not always, but you get a lot of sudden death 1995. I'll have to check it out. You get a lot of tension, and then when your team scores, you get the release of tension, and then you're elated. What happens in basketball is one team goes and scores, the other team goes and scores. Then the first team goes and scores again, and then team 2 goes and scores. Team 1 scores, team 2 scores, team 1 scores, team 2 scores. Team 1 scores twice, team 2 scores. Team 1 scores twice again, team 2 scores 3 times. It's like there's a constant, because the score's just like that, there's no real tension. The only tension comes at the end. You might as well play a 5-minute game or a 2-minute game or something. See who can score more baskets in basketball. Just play it for a much shorter period and just play the last minute. Because there's no build-up of tension other than the whole game's kind of a build-up of tension if it's a tight game. But if one team's clearly better than the other and is constantly 10 points ahead of the other, there's no tension. There's no tension in basketball, so there's no reward for watching it, in my opinion. There's some amazing plays that happen, and there's some players that are clearly better than others and stuff like that, and some baskets are scored that you wouldn't expect to see. But for me, basketball, there's not enough tension in the game. For me, you want a sport where there's tension and then a release, because you scream and shout so much at a football match because you're tense, you're nervous, and you want your team to do well, but they might not do well. And then also you might see, if your team's playing really well, you see some amazing things as well. But then the other set of fans are a bit more tense maybe because their team's losing and stuff like that. So for me, basketball doesn't have the same thing as other sports have, because it's just constant scoring. Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Stars, Texas Rangers are my teams, but they are my hometown teams. That's fine. My team in football are Manchester United, and I'm from Manchester, which some people would find difficult to believe because everybody says all the Manchester United fans are from Surrey, which is like a county in the south of England, just like, the sort of London area. But actually, probably half the people in Manchester are United fans as well. But Manchester United is such a big franchise that you have fans from all around the world coming to see them. So you get the other team in Manchester is Manchester City, and now they've got a bit of money and a bit of backing from their Saudi Arabian owners. So they've marketed the club a bit more around the world now, and they've also got success on the pitch as well. So this is nothing to do with Little Men, but I just find it interesting, so I'll talk about it on my stream. But yeah, they've got success on the pitch, and they've got a team, a group of owners with a lot of money. So now Manchester City is starting to see an influx of foreign fans and non-local fans. But for years, Manchester United were slated for having most of the crowd not being from Manchester kind of thing. But they do get, that's how your club gets bigger and continues to draw money and sustain itself as a sporting entity in the business world, rather than just getting the same sort of loyal 10,000 fans every week and not filling your stadium. So, yeah. Anyway, back to miniature painting. I'm going to grab a Deathwatch miniature and do a bit of dry brushing, see how I go with this Fenrisian Grey on some black instead of some dark blue. Oh, look at me Mario thingies, pants. Here we go. Right, so I've got Watch Captain Artemis here. No, is it what? Yeah, it's Watch Captain Artemis, isn't it? Let's pick him out and see if we can... I don't know where the rest of them is, to be honest. Wonder where the rest of them is. I've only got the back of him and one shoulder. And a leg. So this is as much of Watch Captain Artemis as I can find. I wonder if I can show you a close-up of that. Because I was quite proud of that face when I did it, but it looks a little bit... Oh, I'll tell you what, I could do a dry brush on his face, actually. If I had a smaller brush, I don't feel confident going in with this big brush on his face. Just like... But yeah, I wonder if I'll get this to focus. Let's see. Look at that. Look at him. Yeah, I was really proud of that face when I did it. Looking at it now, it's not the most amazing, but I think that's some of my best face work still, if I'm honest. I'll get to judge it when it comes up on this screen here. But yeah, I'm going to do a bit of dry brushing on his armour and see how it goes. One thing I always forget about dry brushing, people always tell you to go in the same direction, and I never do. Evening, Gary Knox, thanks for joining us, mate. Yeah, I never go in the same direction with the dry brush for some reason. I'm going to have a look on this screen now when this comes up here. I'm intrigued to see how well it shows up. Well, I'm doing the bit with the paintbrush in his face. Let's see if it focuses. Oh yeah. To be fair, that looks really nice, I think. Well, so when I say it looks really nice, what I actually mean is it's come up surprisingly well there on the screen. For me, anyway. Wow, it really didn't focus on my face there for a bit, did it? I should have noticed that. Not to worry, though. Let's crack on. Bit more Fenrisian grey. It is Fenrisian grey, isn't it? Yeah. Best thing about Fenris, that paint. Rest of Fenris stinks. Smells of wet dog. The Hobby Corner. Right, I've stopped for a min. Nice one, mate. So you're going to watch me constantly now? Well, for the next minute. Right, just do my makeup, Kev, so make myself look pretty. Clearly don't know how to do makeup. Oh yeah, bit of that, bit of eyeshadow. Blue eyeshadow. Imagine there was still some paint on that and I've just got blue eyeshadow now. Never going to have a cat on my mug as I'm allergic. It doesn't have to be a real cat, just a picture of a cat, Kev. Come on now. I don't want fur on your mug. That's a different thing altogether, the furry mug, isn't it? I think most of the time you'd say furry cup as well. This has been a very lewd stream tonight, hasn't it? Disgusting. Right, dry brush is what we want Mythos, apparently. According to Mythos, he reckons we need to dry brush with a dry brush. That looks like it might be alright. Maybe a bit wet still. I'm going to go for it with that. I'm going to test it on his foot first on the bottom. Keep it PG. Is it going to be dragging or what? What do you reckon? Oh, I feel like maybe that's dragging a bit. Yeah, let's go for it now. Lol, says Mythos. Yeah, so just testing out. Oh, I tell you what. Testing out makeup brushes for dry brushing, and I like it so far. I do like it. Oh. I think I prefer an edge highlight still though, on the Deathwatch miniatures at least. But it does catch them nicely, much nicer than a standard, like a GW dry brush. But then it does just catch a few other bits as well for me. Maybe I just need a smaller makeup brush. Yeah, still catching a few other bits and just dragging over the black for me there. So I think for my Deathwatch, and I've tested it out on the worst possible miniature because this is one of the character miniatures. But for my Deathwatch, I think I could just go in with some thingy actually, a bit more black and neaten it up a bit. But I think I'd rather than use this dry brush technique, I'd rather still use an edge highlight of Fenrisian grey. I'll tell you where it will look good though on his hair if I was keeping his hair black. It'll just look dyed though, his hair now, because it's Fenrisian grey, so it's like a blue. Oh yeah, that looks quite cool. Looks like he's got dyed hair though now. Yeah, so it's not a bad technique to be using. The makeup brushes, all round, I quite like the idea of using it. And I support the idea of using it. But for my Deathwatch, which I like to look as black as possible, I think it's not quite right for my Deathwatch. Do you need to use my trademark technique? Hashtag wet dry brush. You need to use my trademark technique. Hashtag wet dry brush. I think, yeah. Well, no, I don't want to use a wet dry brush because it will definitely drag and streak across the model there. But that's what I was doing at the start. That's what... Oh, bugger. I'm knocking codices about. And yes, I do say codices, not codexes, because I'm not I'm not an idiot like GW. I'm not idiots. Maybe I am idiots. Do you have an arrow to go with that fin? Well, kind of. I have kind of arrow. This was my makeshift arrow to go with that fin. I should just put it there. It's sprayed in Retributorama, that arrow there, you know. Just place it there. It's not the best arrow, but it kind of does the trick. Yeah, that flash kit can hold it up for me. Yeah, so it's interesting dry brushing. Oh, I'm tempted to dry brush on Gaz's armour, you know. Maybe another coat of thingy first. Another coat of whatchamacallit. Thank you very much, Kev. I'm going to try it. I'm going to go for it. And if it comes to it, I can just go back with another coat of Black Templar. I'm going to do a bit of dry brushing on Ghazghkull's armour. Maybe I should tilt my camera down so you can see what I'm working on, instead of me just leaning back into one corner of the shot. Let's tilt that camera down, shall we? Just there. Get that in shot there. Boom, boom. Don't know why I've turned into Basil Brush all of a sudden. Oh, look at that. Cheeky devil. So here's Ghazghkull's fist. Why is that? Well, it's not focusing right there, but, you know, you'll get the gist of it. You get to see at least something miniature related. That is a nice... When it does just catch the edge, that's really nice, that. I should have really done a dry brush before I decided to paint the rest of the miniature and start shading it and stuff. Oh, that is really nice on the edge of that, actually. I'm definitely going to dry brush the rest of Gaz's armour now. It is cool to find a new technique you've been wanting to try for a while, but you just didn't pick up the equipment you needed for it. Has everybody seen Mythos's Ghazghkull? Because that is looking amazing. If you've not seen it, nip on over to Frost and Fist's Instagram and check out Mythos's Ghazghkull. His checks on the fist are so much better than mine. Like, mine are okay. I'm all right with them. I'm going to change the colour of them. I need to make them more red. But like shape-wise and everything, I'm satisfied with them. Mythos has gone for a slightly bigger one than me, a slightly bigger check, but his what do you call it? His checks, they're super neat. They're fantastic. Did he, out of interest, Mythos, did you mask them off to do those checks and use an airbrush, or did you do them by hand? Because they are super neat. If you did them by hand, your techniques really must have improved. And I think I said to you on a live stream, on one of your live streams, one of your UK friendly ones that I was on, I think I said to you when you asked me how to do checks, I think I just said to you, it's just practice. And it is, that's kind of almost something you don't want to hear when someone's telling you something. You know, you're hoping they can give you a bit of advice on something you want to, just by hand, excellent stuff, yeah. So your technique's really improved and your brush control. Yeah, it's kind of something you don't want to hear. That it's just practice that gets you there. But because you think to yourself, I'll never be that good. But ultimately, the more you practice something, the likelihood is you'll improve to some degree. You'll make an improvement. And I think it's clear from where you were when you started doing checks. I think you weren't confident, you weren't satisfied necessarily. But then you saw when you were showing models off week after week, like the latest knob you'd painted or whatever, you'd done a few more checks and you saw week after week your technique was improving. And it's encouraging for newer people to the hobby, definitely. That's super encouraging, I think, to see how far you can come in the space of weeks or months, but weeks in some cases, just by practicing techniques and improving. And I think it's, like I said, when someone asks how someone did something, I feel like sometimes they're expecting a revelation, and sort of almost like a shortcut. Sometimes you're kind of hoping for a shortcut to learn a new way of doing something that speeds things up, or that either speeds things up or that makes things so much easier for you. So when you're told it's just practice, it can feel a bit discouraging at first. But when you think about it, if it is literally just practice that has gotten me to where I am with a certain technique, then that means that you sat at home, you sat in your hobby room, you can use that same method, just practice, to improve and take your game up to the next level, your painting game up to the next level. So ultimately, it sounds a bit disheartening at first, because it's not a shortcut, but you put the hours in, or the minutes in some cases, but you put the hours in, or days, or months, or however long you're practicing for, and then your technique improves, and it pays off in the long run. You might not want to hear that it's taken years to learn that technique and to perfect that technique, but when you start to see yourself, you can compare a model you painted 10 years ago, and you see it. You've seen it on probably Duncan Rhodes' Painting Academy YouTube channel. He showed the model he painted when he was first getting into the hobby, and he's updated that paint job now on his custom marine chapter. And the techniques he's used and perfected over the years, it shows how far you can come in this hobby when you're starting out compared to when you've been in the hobby 20 years or however long. For some people, you see that immediate improvement. I used to date a girl that studied art at college, and yeah, she was doing mainly photography and stuff like that, but she had a good understanding of art and a good understanding of what paints to use next to each other, and also she had good brush control. And it was at the time when not the latest lot of Harlequins had been released, but really similar ones, but in metal, had been released. So it was around 2000 and early 2000s, I think. So like around 2000 and I was like 21, so 2006, something like that, 2006, 2007. And I was struggling to paint an Orc Boy, like one of my old second edition Orc Boys, and struggling to paint Eldar and stuff like that. But we went to GW together, and she was like, wow, they look amazing, and she saw these new Harlequins that had just been released. So I bought her some, and then she was painting them next to me. And she was so far ahead of where I was at the time that it was, it could be discouraging. But knowing that this camera's really shaking, isn't it? Seems like it is on this. I think I need to find a new position for my camera, because it's on a sort of shelf that's attached to the desk. So every time I knock the desk, that shakes. The desk shakes, and then that shakes even more. So I'll need to adjust that in the future. But yeah, she was so far ahead of me in technique because she's been doing art and things related to art in school and in college, whereas I didn't do art. I mean, I did a bit of art at school, but then as soon as we got to GCSE sort of exam time, when you come to leave school, I dropped art. I should have continued it, really. But yeah, I thought I didn't want to do it at the time. So I just did subjects my mates were doing, basically, because I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grow up, and I still don't. So yeah, she was so far ahead of me because she's had years of practice, effectively, just by being in art class, by doing drawings and paintings and photography and so on and so forth, week after week. So she was way ahead of me, despite the fact that I'd done the hobby a bit when I was first in high school, and then I was just getting back into the hobby a little bit. But in terms of experience, she was way ahead of me. So it's obvious, or pretty obvious, I'd say, she was going to be better at me better than me at painting. Or it was likely. Not necessarily obvious, but likely. Some people have a natural talent for it as well. So they're naturally blessed. I was listening to a podcast earlier with Mark Bernard and the Battlestar Galactica cast, and he was talking about Mozart and some other composer. This other composer, I don't know if they didn't like Mozart or if they were sort of jealous of him, but they felt I think anyway, this is the gist of what he was saying. They felt Mozart didn't appreciate him, and they didn't get on with Mozart necessarily, because Mozart was naturally, it seemed to come to him naturally to be able to put together these amazing bits of music, whereas this other composer had worked all his life and studied all his life to, struggle and strive to put like a symphony together, whereas Mozart just seemed to be able to do it like that. He's a natural talent compared to a learned talent. I don't know what to call it. It's not necessarily a talent, but like a learned technique, I guess. Learned versus natural. It's an interesting dynamic when something comes naturally to someone. When you look at footballers as well, sports people in general, certain footballers seem to have a natural talent. They just know which way their opponent's going to go. They know how to beat their opponent and stuff like that. When they've got the ball at the feet, they can anticipate which way the opponent thinks they're going to go, so then they go the other way. They can change direction like that. It's all natural. It seems natural. Now, don't get me wrong, they have to work at it to maintain that level, but then there's other footballers who have to practice and stay late after practice to practice certain techniques and stuff like that. Prime example is David Beckham. It appeared he had a natural talent to curl a ball, like with his free kicks. There's a film called Bend It Like Beckham. If you don't know about sport, you'll probably know the film title Bend It Like Beckham. David Beckham could take a free kick and curl it like around the opposition players that stand in a wall between where the free kick's being taken from and the goal. He could do it better than most other players, but that was a learned technique, because he'd come in early to training, take free kicks like for half an hour before training started, and then he'd stay late after training for 2-3 hours taking free kicks, because it didn't come naturally to him, so he had to learn it. Now, he had it naturally compared to me, let's say. He had a natural aptitude compared to me, but compared to other players, to keep himself at the top level of the game, he had to practice, or to get himself to the top level of the game, he had to practice more than other players. So it's like learning versus practice. It's a really interesting sort of comparison and dynamic, I think. Anyway, let's see what's going on in the chat and get back to some hobbies, shall we? Practice makes perfect, says the Hobby Corner. You summed it up. You summed it up in one sentence, whereas I took about 20 minutes of waffling to say the same thing. Or good enough. Yeah, that's true. When is good enough? Good enough. There's another whole thing I could waffle about for a while. I think some people strive to get better and better and better. But when you're satisfied with what you're doing, why should you strive to get better? When it's good enough for you, that's when it's good enough. When you're happy with what the models you're putting on the table, that's when it's good enough for you. Some people don't want to paint the models, they just want to play the game. So they build the models and then they put them on the table. They might be encouraged to paint the models by their friends and stuff. So they put a few colours on them, and they're not the best painted models, but it gives you a little bit more immersion. Each colour you put on gives you a little bit more immersion. So yeah, practice does make good enough. Do you line your checks with a pencil? I've not done. I've not done myself, but Mythos, do you line your checks with a pencil? No, but that's a great idea. Yeah, I've seen I've heard of people doing it with mechanical pencils. Give you that super straight line. Mythos, Gaz is epic, but so is yours, Dan. Thank you very much. I'm satisfied with how my Gaz is going, despite the fact that it's taken me half a year to paint him. To get him, he's not even near finish yet. I've still got to do his base and that. I mean, I've still got to do the rest of the miniature. But I really like the work I've done on his head. But excuse me, I'm going to end this stream in 19 minutes, I think. So at 9 o'clock UK time, it'll just be a 2-hour one. This one. Just a word of warning there. Not that you need to be warned, but yeah, I'm just going to go for 2 hours this time. But yeah, I'm satisfied with where my Gaz is at, and I think I'm satisfied at the level in general, at the level I can paint miniatures to. And each time you see a new technique online and stuff, and wanting to strive to achieve that technique, I think that's why we stay in this hobby. I think, you know, I'm satisfied with the level I paint my miniatures at. But every now and again, I like to try a new technique, and one day I'll try something like non-metallic metal. I know some people don't like it because on the tabletop, excuse me, on the tabletop, it doesn't necessarily look right from all angles. It's kind of a display level technique, isn't it? Because it means the miniature looks best from one angle. But yeah, like something like that I'd like to try in the future. Just a brush and a ruler, says the Hobby Corner for lining his checks. I'm really getting a dry throat now. It's supposed to be dry brushing, not dry throating. Dan's Gaz is awesome, really a huge inspiration for getting paint on mine. Thank you very much, Mythos. I'm glad I could be some kind of inspiration to you, even though you're clearly going to get yours painted up before I am. I wouldn't be surprised if yours is already finished. You've come so far so quick with that. But it's really good that like you're just cracking on with it. It's fantastic. I know you like painting more than assembling. I like assembling myself. So sort of building Gaz was enough for me. And then don't get me wrong, I enjoy the painting side of it, especially when you get a bit more paint on him and then he's like, oh, he's that little bit closer to being done. When I was first putting the black on him, that was the first colour I was putting on him, I think. And I was just kind of like, oh, it doesn't look very good, this, so far. And then I put another colour on him and then another colour. The more colours you add, the closer the model comes to completion. So it is encouraging the more colours you put on. I just didn't really feel like painting tonight, so maybe I should start batch dry brushing on streams, because that was really easy to do when I was just sat here, and I'm really satisfied with the way that's caught the edges there, I have to say. Oh yes, it is a revelation of makeup brush, it really is. Frostopher saying, oh, thank you, Gary. Oh, and thank you, Gary. Any airbrush cheating? From me? Or from probably referring to when we were talking about masking off for the checks. I feel that on a spiritual level, my brother Cloud is just naturally gifted at absolutely everything. It doesn't matter what it is. He can just pick up and be good at it. Drives me crazy. Yeah, I've got a friend like that. And they just seem better at everything than me. It's not the end of the world. I've kind of had it all my life. I've had people around me and I've been friends with people that are better at me than all things. And it's, or most things, I'd say. Not necessarily all things, but most things. But it's just something you learn to live with. It's like, it's not the end of the world. I always say to people, I am sort of mediocre at everything. And it's not a problem for me. I've come to terms with the fact that I'm mediocre at everything, and I did a long time ago. You know, any chance I had at becoming a sportsman or anything remotely, anything that you have to dedicate yourself to. Like I gave up the chance of that a long time ago, or gave up on the idea of that a long time ago. You know, the sort of dreams you have when you're a kid of being a famous sportsman or a actor or something like that. It's like, yeah, I gave up the idea of that a long time ago. So Mostly Zen joined us in the chat. Welcome, Mostly Zen. Yeah, so it's, I think having friends that are better at everything than you are, it's not the end of the world, is it? Like, you, at least you can admire what they do in that thing that they are better than you at. So everything. We all know people like that. Doing my first transfers, frustrating. Every day is a school day, as they say. Exactly, yeah. I've not done transfers since I got back into the hobby, I don't think. Oh no, I tried to do it on an orc loincloth on Scraghead's skull knobs. It might have been Scraghead himself. The ones that came in the Stormclaw box. I mean, they're just regular Orc knobs. But I decided to try and put a check transfer sheet on, not a whole sheet, but a check transfer down his loincloth. And I messed it up so bad, it's awful. I should just paint over it or scrape the transfer off, but I've just kind of left it on. But I was really happy with that set of knobs that I painted. As they were, oh, that's something I could dry brush actually, them knobs. You know what though? I don't know where half of my miniatures are. I feel like I've left them somewhere. And I wonder where they are. I wonder where they are. Maybe they are in one of them up there. One of the cabinet shelves. But I'm not too sure. Oh, right. Well then. Mostly Zen. Hi, Frost and Fists. I made an Orc Zoidberg transfer. Wow. Out of a Skulljaw and transfers. Ooh. Nice. Very nice. Out of a skull and jaw transfers. Right, sorry. A skull, jaw and transfers. A skull and jaw transfers. So, mostly Zen. Have you used a makeup brush for dry brushing? Or have you not done that yet? Oh, it feels so good on your hand, a makeup brush. I think I might just start investing in makeup brushes. Hey up Tom says rivets. And Daka. I always do. At least once a week I think I've done that for the past few streams. I've just been like, says rivets, and then I just add and Daka at the end of it. He's got a lobster style pincers in the air. Nice. Mostly Zen. Tom saying hi to Gar. Just staring at my hand here while I'm doing that makeup brush. Yeah, makeup brushes are something that I feel like I should have invested in a long time ago, because just running them over your skin, it's quite nice. Yes, I've started using makeup brushes now for dry brushing. Excellent stuff. Yeah, so this is my first makeup brush dry brushing, and I've really enjoyed it. I've only done like a couple of guns and one of Gaz's arms, but I'll definitely be doing more of it in the future, I have to say. Just gone over the black with a Fenrisian grey, and it's hard to pick up on. What I'll do is post a picture on my Instagram now, actually, I think, because it's hard to pick up on the webcam. So what I'll do is just snap a shot here. Snap a shot. Do we want to be able to see what paint it is? Yeah, let's do that. Oh, is that going to sit there for me? No, it's not. Let's have this knob holding that paint pot up. Oh, bit of chat going off. Any advice on best value Orc models to pick up? Oh, that is a good question. Best value Orc models. Most people say if you want to build a force, buy a set of boys and 2 sets of looters and burners. I think something like that. And then you can make a squad of boys out of 10 boys, and then no, that's not right, is it? Basically, for every set of looters and burners you buy, make sure you buy at least 1 extra set of boys, something along those lines, because you can maximize, because the kits are interchangeable. So if you're getting boys, you don't need to get the boys necessarily. You're actually good with buying the start collecting box, which you get a pain boy in. You get what do you get in it now? You get a Death Dread, I think, a pain boy, a set of boys, and what else? Let's have a look, shall we, online? Because I cannot remember for the life of me. Screen share. You're going to see my face in a second, and it's going to be from a little bit behind. Oh, look at him go. Oh, look at him. Other way. Look at him. That's so weird going that way. Look at him go. He's waffling rubbish. Back to face focus. That was stupid. Right, I'll just prepare the stream. I'll cross the stream. I'm going to go to the GW website is what I'm going to do. Gamesworkshop.com. Start collecting. Someone's probably already said what you get. Oh, look at these bad boys. I am so excited about these, but I'm not going to buy one. I'm going to resist. Screen share. Oh, these lads are massive. They are absolutely massive, these lads, aren't they? Look at them. Fantastic. 120 quid, though. What? That's the same price as 2 knights in the Knight Renegade box. That's madness. But it does seem, because they're all built 3 different ways, like 3 almost completely individual ways. So it seems like you're getting a lot of extra parts in there. So it seems almost as if, not quite, but almost as if, excuse me, almost as if you'd had enough parts to build 2 giants. You won't, but you know, there's extra parts there that you can put onto other miniatures of a similar scale. So something like a knight, you could take, for example, this tabardy bit, not lanyard, like loinclothy bit on the central guy, and take that and put it on a knight to make, on a knight's shoulder pad to make like a chaos symbol there, the corn symbol on the knight. There's like almost like a portcullis here by the looks of it on this guy on the left hand side of the screen. So he looks pretty cool. There's a couple of guys in a big hand there. I've thought about getting one of these guys and changing the angles on the legs and just making a massive orc. But I don't think they're not quite the right shape for that. But if you could sort of reposition the legs a bit and stuff, they're quite wide hipped anyway, aren't they? So I think you might be alright with repositioning the legs, but somehow changing the head and giving him a massive orc head, just making a massive orc, making him slightly more squat though, that'd be ideal. But I think it'd be difficult to do. A massive orc with a lead attached to a gargantuan squigoth, and he's just taking his pet for a walk. Madness. Absolute madness. Yeah, so what was I doing? I was looking at the orc range on GW's website. I just want to look at the start collecting box to see what's in there really. And right. He's forgot his bolt gun metal on one of them and slowly dry brush his entire face. Right, Space Marines, no. Xenos armies, that's what we're on. Orcs, 53 items in Orcs. Craftworld, oh, in Ari's multiple Eldari, innit? Right. So, start collecting Orcs. Yeah, so it looks like you get a squad of boys, you get a Pain Boy, you get a Death Dread, and you get a squad of Knobs as well. So, what I do, if you were looking at getting into Orcs, or getting more Orcs into your force, is buy a start collecting box. And then I'd buy a Looters and Burners box. So I'd build, say, the Looters from the Looters and Burners box, and then you've got spare bits. And get yourself either a second start collecting box, or, it depends how if I was going to get into Orcs now, I'd probably get 2 start collecting boxes. So I'd have 2 Death Dreads, I'd have 2 squads of Knobs. People don't tend to take Knobs now. You could sell them on eBay if you want, but if you're into having a cool army rather than a competitive army, I feel like I'm not into the competitive scene, as I've said a number of times. I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger here, you know. I feel too small in the corner. My head's like the same size as one of these boys here. Oh no, I don't want that. Bigger up yourself. Look at me getting bigger. That's better, isn't it? So you can see more of the shirt now as well. Yeah, so you'd have, if you get 2 start collecting boxes, it's 110 quid. So if you've got 110 quid to drop, that's your first thing there. So I get 2 start collecting boxes. Then you've got 2 Death Dreads, you've got a squad of 10 Knobs, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you've got 10 boys and a boy Knob. No, I didn't just say that. You've got 10 boys and you've got the Knob from that set as well. So you and a Pain Boy. So you take 5 of the boys, or you take 10 of the boys really, and you don't need 5. You don't need 10, do you? You only need 5 to convert some burners. So you've got then after that, so you take your looters and burners, you build one of the units from that box, looters, let's say. Then you've got the bits left over to build your burners. So you take 5 of the boys that you've got from the 2 start collecting boxes. So you take 5 of them, and then you build them as burners, right? And then you've got a squad of 15 boys. You could make it 17 boys if you wanted to, using the two knobs that come in that kit, because they're quite small, them knobs, compared to normal knobs. You can almost see it in this picture. So this is the knob that comes in that kit, this guy here. Let's see if we can big that up now. We can't really big it up, can we? Minimize it. Yep, so this, next to the pain boy here, that's the knob that comes in that kit. And then you've got these knobs here. You can see these knobs are slightly bigger. You might want to just build those just as boys, and then you can give them a knob from one of your knobs from one of your knob boxes, effectively, yeah, from one of your knob units. So then you've got looters, burners, a squad of 15 boys, and a squad of 10 knobs, or a squad of 9 knobs, depending, so effectively you've got a lot of boys then. You got heavy support in the, are they heavy support or elites? I don't know now, because it's that long since I played, but that's a decent way to get a decent amount of bang for your buck, I feel like, with the Orc start collecting boxes. So that's 55 quid plus a squad of looters / burners, which are, or if you didn't want to buy 2 start collecting boxes, you could just buy a start collecting box and a squad of boys. So that would be, and this is direct from GW as well, so from third parties you can knock off 15 to 20%, something like that. So that's £77.50 plus a squad of looters. Which are £20, so that is £97.50. And if you wanted to, fill another, if you're looking to build your list a certain way and want to fill another troop slot, you can just pick up a squad of Gretchen if you wanted, just to fill another troop slot. That way you've got a little decent orc force, I'd say. But more boys is what you need, really. More boys. Just keep buying more and more boys as an orc player. Look at that beautiful Captain Babrook miniature. This is like what I said earlier. When I was answering Spud's question, what do I want models-wise and rules-wise for orcs in the future? I want a new Badrook, but the only real change is just a bigger, more badass-looking gun. I really love that miniature in general. And again, for Snickrot, I love the miniature, so don't really change much, but just give me an updated miniature. For Zagstruck, I'd completely change that miniature myself. I don't love the look of it. Almost completely change the miniature. I keep his claws on his feet. They're really cool. And again, Grotsnick, I'd completely change that miniature. I don't love the Grotsnick miniature. The thing I most hate about it is his power claw. I think it looks awful with his straight claws on top there. It looks like he's checking his nails to me. We've already had makeup on this stream tonight, but he's just sort of looking at his nails like, ooh, yeah, they look nice, them nails. Nicely manicured. That's what it looks like to me. So I'd completely change that Mad Dog Grotsnick miniature. I'd make him a bit beefier probably as well. Oh yeah, and a Deathcopter. An actual plastic Deathcopter kit that we've already had. They've just not done it as an individual kit, unfortunately. New commandos, new plastic commandos, and new plastic tank busters as well. There's 2 things I didn't mention before. I just kind of concentrated on the characters. But yeah, new plastic commandos and tank busters. A dual kit would be nice for them, I think. And I think you could do it as well as a dual kit. They can carry similar sort of things. This guy's got some grenades here. You can bust a tank with grenades, can't you? They can have similar things on backpacks and stuff like that. And the backpacks just make it look like the tank busters are carrying bombs and stuff. So for me, a dual tank buster and commandos kit would be lovely. Plastic, of course. Let's go back to the chat. Oh, it's just gone 9 o'clock, so I will be ending the stream shortly. But let's go back to the chat. Let's go to Face Focus. I'll have one more run through of the chat, and then I will end the stream. Thanks very much for everyone who's joined me. Hello, Gar. Hello, Tom, says Marcos. Hi, Marcos, says Tom. Gary Knox, his eyebrows are getting darker. I couldn't say myself. Mine have been gifted, eBayed, or Prophecy of the Wolf. Yeah, so talking about a good way to get an orc collection. What was the actual... Any advice on best value orc models to pick up? Yeah, you're going to need boys in an orc thing. But also, go on eBay. You can find things like easy to build boys. So if you did do that thing with the looters and burners, so if you picked up a start collecting box and an orc boys box, there's a squad of I think 5 easy to build boys, and they're not on the GW website anymore. I don't think. I'll just have a quick scroll down. Let's actually, they'd be one of the cheaper things. So let's just organise the way they're price. Low to high is what I want, not high to low. Yeah, they're not on there anymore. But they used to do easy to build orc boys, and they were like push fit pretty much. And I think there was 5 of them in a box. If you can find one of them on eBay, or just 5 random orc boys on eBay, and then add them to replace the chopper slugger. That's the only thing so you're limited to chopper slugger there. So if you wanted to build shooter boys, it's not the best, but replace the ones you use to build burners, the torsos and legs you use to build burners, with these easy to build orc boys, then it's a nice little swap out there. So yeah, I'm not always the best at giving advice, I feel like, because I don't always say things in a succinct, easy to understand manner. But hey, there's a few thoughts for you there. Tom saying he's going to forget he's got bolt gun metal on one of them and slowly dry brush his entire face. I've probably got Fenrisian grey on my eyelids a little bit, so I look like I've got blue eyeshadow, I imagine. But so let's go back to my face over here. I miss my face sometimes, so I have to get it back up on there. The truck kit is good for all sorts of things. Yeah, so if you're looking at getting mech guns built, if you want some heavy support and some hard-hitting weapons, you can buy yourself a mech gun kit and then a truck kit. So the mech gun kit's quite expensive. I'll go back over to the GW website and just have a quick look at that. So a great point there by Marcos there. So the mech gun kit is quite expensive, coming in at £30, considering you're just building one unit out of it, and it's kind of a lot of the weapons, or not a lot of the weapons, but some of the weapons on it are just one shot. Like the custom mega cannon, it's just one shot, and it's like orcs don't have the best ballistic skill, although this has got a slightly better ballistic skill because it's crewed by Gretchen. But you get the mech guns kit, you can get yourself a Gretchen kit, and you can get yourself a truck kit. Take the axles, some of the axles from the truck kit, and you can build like 4 different mech guns. If you take the axles from the truck kits and sort of bolt on pieces, the leftover pieces from the mech gun kit, and you can build like 4 different mech guns, it looks a bit ramshackle, or it can look a bit ramshackle. Someone who's done that really well is Stevo, 6+ Stevo. So check out some of Stevo's videos, and definitely like for getting good value out of orc kits, definitely check out a lot of Stevo's back catalogue, because he's done those sorts of videos in the past, I think, where you're looking at getting the most bang for your buck. And check out War Bosses of the Apocalypse as well. They may have mentioned it on some of their streams. So a lot of content out there to look through. It's just finding the right streams and videos to look for. But definitely check out through Stevo's back catalogue, see if he's got anything on getting value for money with orcs. I'd definitely recommend that if you've not already done so. I found there are a lot of orcs available on eBay for the best prices, although if you're lucky, someone locally can sell some cheap. Yeah, definitely have a look at eBay, because orcs are quite plentiful at times throughout various periods of the hobby. So you might get some older kits that still, playable, still good representation of the miniatures, like the 2nd edition Goth boys. If you're just looking for chopper slugger boys, they're in a bit of a basic pose, but they're not ideal, but if you're looking for really cheap boys, you can probably pick some of them up for relatively cheap. 2 Big Macs at once. Oh my, exactly. Yeah, so one of those pain boys as well, if you did get 2 start collecting boxes, one of those pain boys you could convert into a mech quite easily, I'd say. You've just got to take some of the parts from the knob kits and give him like a custom shooter. You could even take some of the parts from the knob kits and sort of botch together a custom Mega Blaster. Probably a custom force field if you wanted to. You could take some of the boss poles from there and just add some bits on and make some kind of representation of a custom force field. It shouldn't be too hard to do that. It's just having the confidence to do it or the know-how to do it. That's what she said Who Took My Dice. There are so many boys on eBay too. There are loads of boys. Like I said, there's been orcs at times throughout the hobby have been quite plentiful. I think it was the 4th or 5th edition starter set had orcs in versus Black Templars. So there's some like single pose orc boys out there that are really good to pick up cheap on eBay. Gary's saying, awesome, appreciate the advice, no problem, bud. At least in the UK, yeah, I agreed. We'll have to look. I'm in the UK. Great show tonight, as always, my brother, says Mythos. Thank you very much, and thanks very much for joining us. Checking nails, makeup brushes. Next, you will be putting on fake eyelashes like 6 Plus Steve. You know, I never saw that. Did he actually do it? Because I never saw it. Bits sites for legs or alternative legs. Yeah, exactly, like Cromlech and Spellcrow are good. They've got some good running legs. Spellcrow is the one for Mythos. Some great ideas, lads. Tar, no problem. Yes, Spellcrow for fun minis and Cromlech. Great hangout, Dan. Great chat, guys. Got to split up. We've got to split up early. Take care. All catch you all soon. No worries. Cheers for joining us, Gar. See you, Gar, says Essex Boys. Later, Gar, says Gary Knox. I love the old metal 2nd edition orcs. I've been trying to get them on eBay. Then I found out this bloke called Squidmar was buying them all. Little beggar. You want to hunt him down and steal all his orcs. Don't do that. I don't encourage theft from other gamers. But hey, let's end the stream on a dark note there. It's been a fun one. My voice is... Oh, I've got a little bit of water left. Don't forget to check out Pickle Jar. Don't forget to check out each other's channels. Everyone that's been in the chat tonight, thank you very much for joining us. We had Broken Toe Studios. We have Frost and Fists. We have Who Took My Dice. We have Mostly Zen, Gary Knox. Mostly Zen, Gary Knox. Frost and Fists, Marcos Castellanos, Essex Boys. And we had Bazza from Underdog Payton earlier on. And Rivet Sandaka. And... yeah, I've said everyone. Take care, dude. Thanks for hosting. No problem. Thanks for joining. Thanks very much to everyone for joining. Don't forget to check out the links in the description below to my various socials, so Instagram and Facebook mainly. I need to put my Twitter in there as well, actually, because I might start posting on that again in the future. I went through a little burst of it during lockdown, but I mainly post on Instagram and Facebook, so check them out. I'm on Discord as well, Big Mac Ghazghkull in some form or another. Good night. Great stream, Dan. Thanks, says Essex Boys. Thank you for joining again. And there's a link in the description below to my Patreon if you want to sponsor a shirt for a future video as well. So thanks very much to everyone who's joined. Thanks very much for all the likes that you've given me. I'm going to check how many there is before we end the stream. 10 likes. Yes. So thanks very much for joining us. And I will see you on the battlefield. Because I might start posting on that again in the future. I went through a little burst of it during lockdown, but I mainly post on Instagram and Facebook, so check them out. I'm on Discord as well, Big Mac Ghazghkull in some form or another. Good night, great stream, Dan. Thanks, says Essex Boys. Thank you for joining again. And there's a link